Appointment of E. Holliday as member of the Board of Directors on behalf of Sint Maarten. Minister tackling signs agreement with Suriname to strengthen prison operations. Promoting general safety on Sint Maarten, the Action Team Police. The Central Committee meeting of Parliament regarding the 2024 General Audit Chamber Annual Report. From the island, Sint Maarten, this is SXM Daily News for February 18th, 2026. Appointment of Eugene Holliday to the Board of Governors on behalf of Sint Maarten. Mr. Eugene Bernard Holliday, Doctors, was recently appointed by royal decree to the Board of Governors on behalf of Sint Maarten for a term of 5 years. Mr. Holliday, born in Sint Maarten on December 14th, 1962, is an economist, author, and founder and president of the Holliday Institute for Governance and Economics in Sint Maarten. He has extensive experience as a director and supervisor of various private and large government organizations and related entities. Mr. Holliday also served 2 terms from 2010 to 2022 as the first governor of Sint Maarten. Eugene Holliday succeeds Kelvin Bloyden, who represented Sint Maarten on the Board of Directors from 2011 until February 9, 2026. Mr. Bloyden has been a constant factor in shaping the board's actual tasks and in the organization, structure, and oversight of the court's operations. As a founding member, he contributed to, among other things, approving the court's organizational structure, drafting the annual plan and budgets, negotiating with the ministers of the various islands and countries, and liaising between politicians and the court. The Board of Directors thanks Kelvin Bloyden for his dedication and loyalty to the court and looks forward to a successful collaboration with his successor, Eugene Holliday. The Central Committee meeting of Parliament regarding the 2024 General Audit Chamber Annual Report.
On behalf of the General Audit Chamber, we'd like to say to the members, although we are here debating, talking about the annual report 2024, we know that some of your comments, questions pertaining to other items outside of 2024. However, we will do our utmost best to try to answer your questions as much as possible. And we do thank you for your comments and questions. The manner in which we will do the questions is we will go through based on each MP's questions. We try to list them as best as we can and make the response to those that you get, and they will be deliberated between Mr. De Jong and myself. And Mr. De Jong will start with the first questions that was posed by MP La Cruz.
MP La Cruz, you asked you said that the audit findings should lead to action, and what monitoring systems do we have? And I think with that question alone, it ties back to several other questions and comments that were posed just now. Also on one of the weaknesses of an audit chamber, because you want to follow up on the recommendations made in reports. So short answer, yeah, we agree. And to strengthen the follow-up, we introduced in 2025 a tool called a progress meter, which we also emulated from our colleagues in the Netherlands. And this tool tracks whether recommendations are implemented, are partially implemented, and are not implemented. And the first draft letters are ready to go, and actually we were planning to send one to Parliament this morning, so probably later today we'll still send it out. It should provide Parliament with a clear periodic overview of the progress after reports are issued. And just to clarify that this progress meter does not replace any ministerial responsibility. It's mainly to see how far ministers or auditees are with implementing recommendation. And basically it should support your oversight by making follow-up more transparent and structured. Do we support mandatory action plans after major findings? Yes. We support a structured requirement for ministries to submit formal action plans, which also includes timelines and responsible officials following major audit findings. And we do believe that that tool improves accountability and should improve accountability and measurability as well. And I think the road tax is a good example of that as well. Just to go into that topic, I'm going a bit off with the question lining, but we had discussions with the Minister of Romy in 2025 and 2026, even though we're discussing 2024 annual report, in where eventually the minister submitted a roadmap on the idea of becoming compliant when it comes to the road tax. And we are carefully monitoring that roadmap to make sure that all the deadlines are adhered to. Then the next question was, how can Parliament effectively monitor the compliance? I guess the project, I'm very much looking forward to this new tool, the progress meter. And in the meantime, we still have the reviews that we did in the past to see what was actually done in the past with the recommendations. And I think by linking the recommendation to, for example, budget debates or also requesting updates from ministers, you have a bunch of oversight tools that hopefully helps you in your role to hold the minister accountable. Would stronger budget oversight improve reforms? We believe so. Budget oversight, I believe, is one of Parliament's strongest instruments to enforce implementation of reforms. And then you had a question that the PM said that there are too many councils of state. There's three. There's the Ombudsman, the General Audit Chamber, and the Council of Advice. And then there's a couple of advisory councils like the SER and the Integrity Chamber. We don't take any positions on political or governance design choices. Our role is to audit compliance, effectiveness, and efficiency of how public funds are used within the existing structures based on our Constitution. Now, the Soul Beach audit, that's a very interesting question. And you see all the eyes on me, which is fine. I'm going to leave that for my chairman to answer.
That you get. And when we talk about what, the question is, what do you not agree with that is not in our request? This is where we talk about the request that came from Parliament on the Soul Beach that you get. As a General Audit Chamber, we do respect Parliament's requests. Parliament is one of our partners in this, especially you are the ones that we facilitate most of our reports to, so we do respect your requests. Our concern was not with the intent, but with the practical and legal feasibility of conducting audit within our mandate, given the lack of separation between public and private funds at the time that we look at it. As mentioned in our letter that you see, that we sent in November, stating that we would consider it as part of our audit plan for 2026. And we just like to mention that under no circumstances, as the audit chamber, we will not audit, sorry.
Not number two.
No, so,
Only number one.
yeah, so under the circumstances, the audit chamber will not audit the Soul Beach process directly, but we'll audit the process of how the funds were taken. So we know that it is looked at in what we are considering. It's like an incidental subsidy that was given to these individuals. So that is the process and how we're going to look at. We do not look at the individual item, we look at the entire process. So if it falls, we think it falls under incidental subsidies, that is what we're going to be looking at as part of our plan 2026. And hopefully that would be able to cover what you're looking for, the request that we get from Parliament in that regard, that you would get.
On February 16th, 2026, the Minister of Justice, Natalie Tackling, signed a one-year cooperation agreement with the Minister of Justice of Suriname, Harish Monarath, formalizing the temporary deployment of Surinamese correctional officers to support operations at Point Blanche Prison. The agreement provides for the placement of experienced correctional officers from Suriname to assist with daily prison operations, reinforce safety protocols, and enhance institutional stability. The additional operational capacity will support continuity within the facility, while St. Martin advances the recruitment and training of local correctional officers. This collaboration forms part of the ongoing efforts under St. Martin's Detention Sector Reform Program, DSRP, the national framework guiding the modernization and strengthening of the country's detention system from pre-trial through post-detention. Through the DSRP, the Ministry of Justice continues to implement practical, phased measures that improve stability, build institutional resilience, and create the foundation for long-term reform. Minister Tackling described the agreement as a strategic and responsible step forward. In the interest of further promoting general safety on St. Martin, the action team of the Police Force of St. Martin, KPSM, conducted targeted controls and preventive frisk operations at various locations across the island during the period of February 9th through February 14, 2026. These operations were focused on enhancing road safety and combating narcotics and illegal firearm-related offenses. Special attention was given this week to the traffic situation on Rhine Road and at several roundabouts, including Maho and Kruithof. In collaboration with CPO R. Henson and other officers, traffic flow was actively regulated. Clear arrangements were made with taxi and bus drivers regarding the use of designated drop-off and pick-up points. 2 vehicles were towed due to illegal parking, and 1 bus driver was fined for allowing passengers to disembark outside of an official bus stop. Additionally, multiple traffic controls, stop checks, were carried out the different areas across St. Martin. During these operations, a total of 55 vehicles and 6 scooter riders were checked. 14 individuals were subjected to preventive searches. 1 scooter was impounded due to the driver not being in possession of the required documentation. During the controls, a small quantity of narcotics was discovered and immediately surrendered and destroyed on site. In light of several serious traffic accidents recorded in recent weeks, KPSM is also urging tour operators, taxi drivers, and bus drivers operating in the Maho and Mullet Bay areas to take additional safety precautions. Drivers are strongly advised to depart the Maho-Mullet Bay area in a timely manner to ensure cruise passengers arrive at the cruise facilities without unnecessary delay. Adhere to designated pickup and drop-off points. Avoid illegal parking and obstructing traffic flow. Remain attentive at all times and avoid distractions while driving. Obey posted speed limits and traffic regulations, especially during peak and evening hours. The police force of St. Martin emphasizes that responsible driving behavior is essential to protecting both visitors and residents.
Social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
Draft National Ordinance. Concerning the repeal of certain national ordinances in the field of taxation that have fallen into disuse. National Ordinance on Tax Reform, Phase 1. Parliamentary Year.
Through you, Madam Chair, I thank MP La Cruz for his clear support on the retraction of both the land and inheritance tax. With respect to the email referenced, I will need to review the matter further and will respond accordingly. I also appreciate the suggestion regarding the taxation of foreign nationals upon the sale of land. This could indeed be a positive initiative and would demonstrate our commitment to preserving land ownership for locals. Such considerations can be examined within the context of broader tax reforms, including matters such as a villa tax. However, as it relates to the legislation currently before Parliament concerning the abolishing of the land tax and the inheritance tax, my position remains unchanged. MP Waver, I want to thank you, through you, Madam Chair. While you did not have a question or no questions pertaining to this abolishing of land and inheritance tax, I want to acknowledge your support towards the abolishing of both the land and inheritance tax. Thank you. MP La Vega, through you, Madam Chair, I want to thank the Honorable MP for his support to the retraction of both land and inheritance tax. While he acknowledged that most of the questions were answered, I thank him for repeating them still, as it is important to reiterate the reasoning for this retraction and importance of it. His first question, the Minister mentioned that this law is about legal certainty. What is formal repeal why is formal repeal necessary if the taxes are not enforced? Through you, Madam Chair, because leaving dormant taxes on the books creates uncertainty. A future administration could activate them without any broad policy debate. Formal repeal removes ambiguity and guarantees long-term predictability for families and investors. I continue with questions posed by MP La Vega. How does the Minister expect the legislation to impact the real estate market in St. Martin? Through you, Madam Chair, by removing the possibility of annual land taxation and inheritance burdens, we strengthen long-term confidence in property ownership. This encourages development, renovation, and generational retention of land while making St. Martin more attractive to investors and returning diaspora. Following question. Some may argue that inheritance tax promotes redistribution. Why does the Minister believe abolition is the fairer approach? Through you, Madam Chair, inheritance tax effectively taxes assets that were already taxed during the lifetime of the deceased. In our context, wealth is often tied up in land and family businesses. Abolishing the tax protects middle-class families and prevents forced sales, which aligns with fairness and economic stability. Following question. How does abolishing two taxes align with responsible fiscal management? Through you, Madam Chair, responsible fiscal management is not about maintaining unused instruments. It is about focusing on efficient and enforceable revenue sources. Our strategy emphasizes compliance, modernization of existing taxes, and economic growth, rather than rhetoric or theoretical taxes that were never viable. Following question. Can the Minister elaborate on how this reform benefits families holding succession land? Through you, Madam Chair, succession land is often land-rich but cash-poor. An annual land tax or inheritance levy could create financial pressure, leading to forced sales. By abolishing these taxes, we safeguard ancestral land and provide stability for future generations. Following question. How does this reform contribute to St. Martin's ambition to become a more investor-friendly jurisdiction? Through you, Madam Chair, investors value predictability, knowing that land will not be subject to annual taxation and that inheritance transfers will not be taxed provides long-term certainty. That clarity enhances competitiveness, and strengthens our positioning in the region. Following question. The minister referred to this as a step within broader tax reform. What comes next? Through you, Madam Chair, this initiative removes outdated and symbolic burdens. The next steps involve modernizing and improving compliance in existing revenue streams, refining business taxes, and continuing our structured reform process in phases. And last question. The minister emphasized the cultural and historical dimension of land. Why was it important to frame this legislation in that context? Through you, Madam Chair, because taxation policy is not only economic, it is also social. Land in St. Martin represents identity, legacy, and stability. Aligning our legislation with our lived cultural reality strengthens public trust and ensures that our fiscal framework reflects who we are as a people. I move on to the question posed by MP York. And Madam Chair, through you, I want to acknowledge MP York's full support for the retraction of the inheritance tax and his reservations regarding the retraction of the land tax. On this point, we will have to agree to disagree, respectfully, as I am fully in support of retracting both taxes. Both measures have a significant impact on our local population and, as outlined in my presentation, are deeply rooted in our historical context. I do agree that we must continue to explore ways to better support our local population, and in that regard, the matter raised by MP La Cruz concerning the sale of property is one I do intend to examine further. However, I remain firm in my position on the retraction of both the inheritance tax and the land tax. As it pertains to the said, through you, Madam Chair, the government notes that the two tax laws have never been executed and therefore have not affected households, businesses, land use, or government revenues. Their repeal is therefore not expected to have any measurable social economic impact. Therefore, my opinion is that the referral to the said was not necessary.
U.S. civil rights leader Jesse Jackson has died at the age of 84. He died peacefully on Tuesday morning, surrounded by his family. They say in a statement, Jackson fought for civil rights alongside Martin Luther King Jr. in the 1960s and was twice a candidate for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination in 1984 and 1988. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2017 and was hospitalized for observation last November after being diagnosed with a degenerative condition. Story file by BBC News.
November 2008, Barack Obama and a moment of history. In the crowd, the tear-stained face of a man who'd done much to pave the way. The Reverend Jesse Jackson.
It's been a long time coming, but tonight, because of what we did on this day, change has come to America.
Born to a teenage single mother in Greenville, South Carolina, Jesse Jackson grew up in a world where black and white were legally segregated. In 1959, he won a football scholarship to university, but threw himself into the civil rights struggle that was engulfing America.
And there's a great swell of cheers to welcome Martin Luther King.
Under the leadership of Martin Luther King. Reverend King sent the young Baptist minister to Chicago to organize protests. On marches, the two men faced violent crowds opposed to the movement. Then, in Memphis, Martin Luther King was murdered in front of Jackson. The assassin was later arrested, having fled the country, but Jackson was never convinced he'd been working alone.
This man could not have stalked Dr. King, had the logistical operation, had operative alternative passports, and got out of the country with money alone.
A powerful public speaker, Jackson continued the struggle.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody.
In the 80s, he twice ran for president, but failed to win the Democratic Party nomination. But for the first time, a black man was a serious contender.
Our time has come. We must leave racial battleground and come to economic common ground and moral higher ground. America, our time has come.
On the international stage, he campaigned for a Palestinian state, creating a long rift with American Jews after some unguarded and offensive remarks. He persuaded Saddam Hussein to release human shields on the eve of the Iraq War. And as South Africa emerged from apartheid, the man who spent years maintaining American pressure against the system was there to watch.
What time is it?
From the 1960s to the election of Barack Obama, even to the Black Lives Matter movement of recent years, Jesse Jackson was a constant figure in American public life, determined to show generations of young black Americans they too could have a voice.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Thursday midday. Partly cloudy with brief showers possible. Surface winds, today through Thursday midday, east-northeasterly with a light to gentle breeze at 5 to 10 Milmi. State of the sea, slight waves, swells 2 to 4 feet outlook through Friday midday. Partly cloudy with brief showers possible. And now your 3-day forecast.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
TVJ News, where are all the rafts? The question Bangalore Lagoon Alliance in Brooklyn this evening after almost 2 months. Rather, after they say Marine Police confiscated 2 new vessels they built in anticipation of a resumption of commercial activities at the world-famous tourist destination. Krista Campbell visited the operators and now outlines their concerns. While most people, 6 over the last few days of December 2025, Krista Campbell reporting.
While most persons were preparing to ring in 2026, over the last few days of December 2025, raft captains at the Blue Lagoon in Portland say they were preparing for the resumption of commercial activities. Rafting, kayaking, boat tours, and even fishing have been suspended at the famed attraction after the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, JNHT, and Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO, closed the facility for things like bathrooms to be built. The facility was reopened in June 2023, but local tradesmen say they only heard news that commercial activities would resume in the first quarter of 2026, so they started to make preparations.
The raft had take me at least a month, the two rafts, to get together and to bring them here. It cost me over 200,000. I don't check most of the money like wire and nail, and I don't put them in it because they just come straight out of my pocket.
Members of the Blue Lagoon Alliance pooled resources to pay persons to make and transport the rafts from the Rio Grande Valley area of Portland.
On the 29th of December, and brought them up on the beach, put some stone on them to get the head lift, because the bamboo, you have to train the bamboo to get the head to hop above the water, because once it's in the water, it's going to push the water, so the raft won't be able to climb the sea. So I try to bend them up so they can ready for the operation, right?
He says the rafts were to be inspected, but the following morning, the Marine and regular police swooped down on the area.
All of them started to push the rafts off the land while the boat was out there with a rope waiting to tie them up and to tow them away. No form of consultation.
Up to now, I can't get anything from the DSP. Said I must come back, and since going back, every morning I go, she's not there, and it's like I run around. I went there up to this morning, I still don't get any argument from them.
The superintendent didn't know where they were, and say they were into the custody of the Marine Police. When Jabem went to the Marine Police and Mr. Wilburn, no raft could be found.
They note the impact on tourism.
When the people come, they would go over to the Monkey Island and go around, spend some time. But now, because no commercial activity, all the people does when they come, they just sign up, look, take some pictures, nothing to do, and on their way. So we lose thousands of dollars every day.
Our initial investment will be $200,000. However, over time, we think these rafts could bring us $700,000 to $1 million each before they are repaired once.
I'm suffering right now at Blue Lagoon because the only thing I can do is rafting and boat ride. I'm not a vendor, I don't sell anything inside here. All I can do is spend a few of my life jacket for $1,000, and that can help the situation.
The Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement, JABEM, has been trying to get answers for the raft captains and says it's considering taking legal action. TVJ News also sought responses on the missing rafts as well as the delays in resuming commercial activities at the Blue Lagoon, but neither the JNHT nor TPDCO have honored their promises to respond.
So, as the world-famous Blue Lagoon sits silently under a setting sun, the local tradesmen continue to sound the alarm for red tapes to be removed so business can be fully restored in the area. Reporting from Portland, I'm Krista Campbell for TVJ News.
This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.